two cameras. We have one here and one there that's going to capture our essence.
First off, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Happy Mother's Day.
Okay, guys, this is the first episode of SuperCast. We're basically going to talk about everything live-action comics related, everything with comic news. Mm-hmm. What else?
Just anything that's nerd culture, pop culture. We are digging into the live-action comics, so you can check out that stuff on social media, and you can kind of learn about it. And we'll have different episodes. We'll have different people involved with live-action comics. Today we're going to talk to the creator of live-action comics, so our own Todd Christian. We'll go into all of those details, and you'll hear about more really, really exciting stuff, and you'll be able to figure out or find out where to go to learn all this information.
Yep.
So shall we do
nerd news?
We have our weekly nerd news.
Nerd news. Weekly
so
nerd
different
news.
Things in movies and TV and comic books that I mean, this is going to be more like TV and movie centric this week, but just different news that's exciting for comic book fans such as ourselves. So if you're a fan of the show Once Upon a Time, it has been renewed for a 7th season. Unfortunately, a bunch of the actors who are regulars are not going to be on the next season as they revamp it. So a ton of them, you can go on Deadline.com. Yeah, a bunch of them have decided to not return or to kind of cut costs. Yeah. They're gone. Sci-Fi picked up the prequel series Krypton. So that's going to definitely be interesting. It's set 2 generations before the destruction of Krypton. So, and it's going to follow Superman's grandfather, whose House of El was ostracized and shamed as he fights to redeem his family's honor and save his beloved world from chaos. So, kind of a spoiler alert, seeing as how that family was on good terms once it hit the fan. So, as a Superman fan, what are you thinking about? Are you wanting to see prequel series for Superman that takes place on Krypton?
Anything Superman, I'm game for.
You're all about.
I'm all in for anything Superman. I grew up, that he was my.
He has a lot of Superman stuff.
I do. It's kind of
around his
kind of crazy.
Big.
Yeah.
Big fan on that.
Yeah, it's kind of.
So you're excited for?
My family gives me Superman stuff all the time. That's nice. It's kind of my thing. My mom made me a little costume when I was like 4 years old, and I have it framed in my room. And my favorite piece is the owner of Atlas, which they have to do with the making of Superman, the Man of Steel, and Batman, Superman. I went to his Christmas party, and a character artist was there, drew a picture of me as Superman, and I was close friends with the assistant, and she took it to the owner's desk, and he signed it for me. He says, maybe we should have casted you for Superman. I could not have been a better piece of Superman memorabilia to me. I mean, obviously, but that's my favorite piece that I have.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think it's kind of one of a kind, so
you're excited about that.
Yeah, anything Superman I dig.
We'll see if you can post that picture online.
Yeah, maybe I'll show that to you guys.
That'd be kind of cool. So another interesting bit of news in the DC world. CW has picked up the show Black Lightning from producer Greg Berlanti, who actually does all the Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl. He actually has 6 series on CW, which is insane when you think about, I think they only do 10 hours of programming a week.
So he's not very busy.
No, and he also has The Blind Spot on NBC and another show, Deception, I believe is called, on ABC that just got picked up. Wow. So he's a busy dude. Busy guy.
He's cranking.
So, so that's kind of exciting. FXX, the channel, the offshoot of FX, picked up a 10-episode series of Deadpool animated. So that's very cool. What's interesting about that is it's actually going to be written and executive produced by Donald Glover, who does Atlanta for FX.
Yeah.
As well as like he was in Community, things like that. So that's, and I believe he's voicing Miles Morales' voice for the animated Spider movie that's coming out next year in theaters. So that's kind of interesting. I'm a huge Deadpool fan.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that coming out. I'm not sure if you guys know the show, but the show Psych that used to be on USA Network announced they are going to have a Christmas special this year. It's been done for years, but they got the whole cast around. So that's pretty cool.
That's interesting. I haven't heard that.
So a while ago,
questions.
We got some questions. Oh, no, it's just their first day.
Oh,
so
this is first day.
Welcome to Periscope and welcome to SuperCast. Really excited to have you. So Hellboy, for a long time they were talking about making a third movie. And Guillermo del Toro recently said, yeah, about that, nope. So they're not making it. However, they're making a Hellboy reboot starring the police officer from Stranger Things, David Harbour, and directed by Neil Marshall, who did like The Descent, did an episode of Game of Thrones, The Watchers, what was it called? Watchers on the Wall. So it's possibly called Hellboy, Rise of the Blood Queen.
Hi guys.
So it should be very...
Comment there.
How's it going? So it should be very interesting on that. And we finally have a name. So Fox had that untitled X-Men show that's not X-Men. We finally have a name. It's called The Gifted. So, and it's going to be about a suburban couple, Stephen Moyer from True Blood and Amy Acker from Angel and from, I believe, Dollhouse, who their extraordinary lives are rocked by a discovery that one of their children is a mutant. So they have to go on the run from the government. Welcome, Besh. Welcome to our show. Pretty exciting. And the last little bit of news is they're making, what was it? Oh, The New Mutant. So they've cast Arya Stark from Game of Thrones and who is the other one? Anna Taylor-Joy, who was star of last year's The Witch, which is a very interesting movie. She was also in Split. So that's kind of cool. We are not a podcast. We are potentially going to be turning this into a live show / podcast. So, but currently it's just a live show, but we'll be working on that. So now we're moving on to TV. So we got like TV renewals. This is the season for renewals and cancellations, and there was a ton this week. Putting this together, we were supposed to do this earlier in the day, and I was a little bit late because there was a lot.
Yeah,
a lot. So good news, bad news. Do you want the good news or bad news first?
Give us the good news.
Good news? Okay.
Always the good news first.
Okay. So, CBS renewed Code Black for a 3rd season. Elementary for a 6th season. New Girl, one of your shows.
I like New Girl. That sounds weird. No, I love New Girl.
Yeah, New Girl has been renewed.
It's the new Friends to me. I just love all the characters. They're just all pretty likable.
And you like her Pixie Dream Girl.
It's just a funny show.
So
I like all the character development of all the characters are pretty good.
So good news is it's been renewed for a 7th season. Bad news is it's going to be the final season of the show.
Fox, and anything with Megan Fox in it is pretty decent.
She's in it?
Yeah. You didn't know that? Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Maybe you need to watch that.
I guess I do too. All of a sudden I like New Girl. In fact, I would say that it's the modern day Friends.
Yes. Wait a minute. Didn't I just say that?
So Brooklyn Nine-Nine was also renewed for season 5, which is pretty awesome. So
I've not seen that.
So the freshman series Timeless was canceled and then uncanceled. So it's actually coming back because fans
how do you uncancel something?
Lisa's here. What's up, Lisa? So NBC's like, just kidding. We're sorry we pissed off everybody. So,
hi,
hey,
Lisa.
What's up, Lisa? Welcome to the show.
Oh, and my dad just signed in.
What's up, Todd's dad? How's it going?
Hi, Dave.
Thank you. Nice.
There you go.
So Law & Order SVU has been renewed for its 19th season.
Of course.
So it's next year. If it goes...
It's a staple on TV.
If it goes next year, it'll tie the original Law & Order, because that only lasted 20 seasons. 20 seasons. And if it does one more, obviously, it'll break its record.
Yeah.
Great news for NBC, the rest of them for NBC. Great news, Blacklist, Blind Spot, and Taken were all renewed. Exorcist for Fox, Gotham, and Last Man on Earth was renewed. A ton.
Last Man on Earth, I really like that.
That is a good show.
That's a really good show. Really well written, and I dig that show.
There are a ton for ABC, so I'd almost recommend you go look this up. I'm just gonna fly through them super fast.
Go ahead.
So we got Shark Tank, The Bachelor, Dancing with the Stars, Blackish, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Fresh Off the Boat, Speechless, American Housewife, Designated Survivor. This is a busy week for them. Once Upon a Time, The Goldbergs, and Modern Family both got 2-season renewals. Scandal got renewed, but that's also going to be its 7th and final season. Now, for the whole Chicago run of things on NBC, Fire, PD, and Med all got renewed, but Justice, no word yet. We don't know. Edge of our seats. Not really. And CW renewed The Originals and iZombie. So, very interesting. Now, the bad news. This is the sad panda portion of it. So, cancellations.
You have a show and then you don't.
Yeah. We giveth you your favorite shows back and we taketh away. So, CBS canceled The Great Indoors, which was like a new show this season. And also, this Two Broke Girls was canceled. So, after the 6th season, it's done. Freeform's longest-running comedy, Baby Daddy, will be done at episode 100. So, I mean, it's kind of cool to hit, the 100 mark, which not a lot of shows do.
Yeah.
So, while it was good news over at the Blacklist people for the main show, its spin-off Redemption, unfortunately, is not going to make it to a 2nd season.
Yeah.
Nor is NBC's Powerless, which is really cool. It was kind of like in the world of superheroes or kind of normal people. And it was a really cool show. So I'm kind of sad. I have Vanessa Hudgens, who I'm a big fan of. She is pretty awesome. So sadly that is no more. On ABC, Imagination Mary, The Catch, The Real O'Neills, Secrets and Lies, Dr. Ken, American Crime, and Last Man Standing are all gone. So while ABC had a busy week renewing things, also had a busy week axing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Over at Fox, Making History, Son of Zorn, APB, and Rosewood are gone. And then finally with CW, Imaginary Mary. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Someone said they loved it. I'm so sorry. It's no longer going to be a thing.
That always sucks when you watch a show and they cancel it.
And it was a mid-season, so it's not even like you got a full season. You just got just a little sample.
There was a show called Surface back, I don't know.
Oh, I love that show. That did get a full season, but that was awesome.
It was one full season, and I was totally into that show because they didn't really reveal a lot.
Lake Bell starred in it. Yeah. I love her. From In a World.
Yeah, and I was pretty upset. Not terribly
That was a great show.
It was good.
I like that show. I think it was called Invasion, which was similar.
Yeah.
That was very cool. And lastly, with CW, Frequency and No Tomorrow both are not going to see a 2nd season. So that's sad. And last but not least, before we get into live-action comics, we have our box office roundup. So the number 1 movie for this weekend was Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Of course.
Not surprised, with $63 million. But that's the numbers I'm giving you now are like the Sunday estimate. So Monday we'll have kind of the final tally. So their industry experts are thinking it's probably going to be between 64 and 66 million. But it was only a drop of 57% in the second weekend, which isn't bad because superhero movies, they're really front-loaded. So usually people go out to see in the first movie. So anything smaller than like a 60% drop is good. And to date, in 2 weeks, domestically, it's made $246.1 million, which ain't too shabby.
Not too bad.
And I'll tell you, 2 weeks ago, I saw it for the first time with Jonesy, Gary from the Upon Further Review podcast that I do, and you probably listened to that episode. And it was good, but I had to go see it in IMAX 3D, and I did last night, and it was amazing. So if you get a chance, see it in IMAX 3D. It's incredible. And it's not gimmicky. Like, there's a couple in-your-face stuff, but more it's just the depth was amazing. Yeah. So, in 2 and 3, we have some newcomers. In number 2, we got Snatched, which was the Amy Schumer, Goldie Hawn movie with $17.5 million on a budget of $42 million. So, there's not a new comedy coming out until June 16th with, what was it called?
Rotten
Rough
Picks.
Night.
Hi, Rotten Picks.
What's up, Round Picks? So Rough Night is coming out mid-June. So I mean, it's probably gonna do okay. It's probably gonna make its money back. Now, what's not gonna make its money back in number 3? Yeah, I agree, Lisa. Any Marvel movie in the theater is super epic to see. Any Marvel Studios film, not like Fantastic Four or no, thank you. So now, what's not great is in number 3 was King Arthur with $14.7 million.
That's pretty disappointing, I thought.
Especially seeing as how the budget was $175 million, and it's been pushed back twice because of issues, and they spent a lot of money in post-production credit, but. Yeah, it's not. It's probably the first major bomb of the year, I would assume.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah. In place number 4 is Fate of the Furious. It's held on. It's the 5th week with $5.3 million. It has $215 million after 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And number 5 is Boss Baby with $4.6 million, and it made $162.4 million after 7 weeks.
Good.
Now, so it's also great news for Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay news for Snatch. The rest
not so good.
Well, yeah, I mean, King Arthur, for the whole weekend, it was only $128 million for the whole weekend, which is actually the lowest Mother's Day frame since 2008. So, luckily to Guardians to kind of keep that up there, because it doesn't seem like families really went out to the theater this year. Or for this weekend.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the nerd news for the week. We'll keep those updated every week, so kind of come back to kind of get caught up with what happened this week. We do the legwork, so you don't have to. So now let's talk about live action comics. This is your brain baby. This is rolled around in your brain grapes.
Yep.
And this kind of came to fruition. You are the creator, the main writer. You are the executive producer. You're like the end all be all. For live action comics, obviously we have a huge team involved, but I want to learn about how this kind of came to be. Kind of what made. Well, first off, how do you describe it to people when people ask you what live action comics is? What is it that you say?
Live action comics is is comic books, but they're live people. And any other
instead of drawn people, it's people in costumes.
Yeah, we kind of focus on the cosplay industry. We create costumes. We take photographs of everybody. We set the stage just like a movie, and we take pictures. And that way, it's been an interesting way to describe comic books, because it's hitting a realm where no one's really dove into before, and we can do stuff with like depth of field and lighting, everything. It's such a creative outlet to show a comic book, like your concept. And it's been really fun and interesting. It just didn't happen. I just didn't have the idea click in my head. It was, because I, went to school for graphic design, because I modeled for years, and because when I first started, I didn't have a lot of income to pay someone to draw it. And my first idea of starting this whole thing was to basically teach myself everything. Because Hollywood's a tough area. It's very expensive. And you just don't have $200 million sitting in the bank. I wish that was the case. But so that's why I kind of pieced it together like that at first, because I was doing it myself, and that was just the easy way to get it done. It was like the down and dirty way to do it. But doing that, I kind of created something new and interesting, and it's been great so far.
So what made you decide that you wanted to just create? Because obviously you have these ideas for superhero characters and for stories that you want to tell.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people do. We talk about in LA or just all over the place. A lot of people come up with things. So what made you decide to take your ideas and actually make something? I mean, it's kind of cool.
And that was the thing, is, a lot of people do have ideas, and, to get anywhere in this industry, you have to take that idea and make something of it, So that's, it can be anything. You could go out and shoot a YouTube video, or do a comic book, or write a script, or do something. You know, something tangible that you can show somebody. You know, that's you know, in publishing a book is an amazing thing. It's one of the best things I've ever done in my life. It's just very rewarding to have literature. It's not so much literature really like a big novel, but it's still, you know, writing, and there's such a creative outlet to it. But yeah, mainly just creating a product and getting it out is one of the greatest things you can do. If you're a creative mind and you have ideas, you know, just do it. Just go out there and just make it and put it out in the universe and see what happens with it.
Yeah, because,
you know?
I mean, you go out there and, you know, there's so many people, especially here in LA, saying I'm a writer or whatever, and then you ask to see what they're doing, and a lot of it's like, well, I'm still writing it, or I'm working on it.
Right.
And that can lose people's interest super fast.
Oh,
because,
absolutely, really fast.
You know, I mean, as great as your idea might be, unless you're actually willing to actually write it down or create something, make something tangible. I mean, that's what opens doors, is actually doing, as opposed to like, no one's gonna, especially if they don't know you, no one's gonna take your word for it that you're this amazing genius at such and such and hire you. A lot of it's like, let me see, what do you have? What have you done? So for you to kind of go out there and be like, this is my vision, this is what I want to do, and to have the foresight knowing like, I better do it, but I have these limitations. You know, like you said, you don't have a lot of money to have people. You don't have enough, like, millions of dollars to create your own comic book line that's fully animated, that's, you know, even not the Marvel DC, but the lower ones down there still have a lot of funding behind them. Yeah. You know, and you're like, well, what can I do? Like, what can I do that's economical? And so that's kind of how you set out to do it. Right. So obviously, I mean, you need to check out these stories to kind of get the full idea about it. Yeah. But what are the types of stories that you felt compelled to tell? I mean, what are overall themes? I mean, we've talked conspiracy, things like that, but these people don't necessarily know
the main story is, what we missed a question. I missed that. What are the stories about?
Here we go. Yeah, perfect.
That's what we're getting into. So the first story is called Element X. That's kind of like our Superman of the whole universe. He's just a everyday guy that, you know, he's just working a normal job. He's a geologist, and all of a sudden he starts getting like crazy headaches. Come to find out, I'm gonna tell you like the short. I can tell you like a giant version of this, but this is kind of like the Reader's Digest version. He finds out that his father did research for the government. Basically, they were creating super soldiers for the government, and his father was actually injecting himself with this new potential element that they found, which is called Element X. That's actually an element that they create, and not create, but they find, and they don't know what it is, so they label it Element X. So what happens is, through the in vitro process, once the dad has a child, he basically inherits these different properties of this element. So this element gives him the ability. It basically, he's an evolved human being. His mind grows at 100%. And who wrote the storylines? Actually, Noah he wrote a TV script for Element X. I'm like basically the creator of the stories, and then I get someone like Noah to write it. I write the comic books, and I like writing the comic books. It's kind of fun for me. But I leave scripts to like Noah, because he's done a great job. We're really excited about the script. But anyway, so that's kind of, I don't want to give away a lot of the story, but that's kind of, thank you. And
yes, we do. I'm actually, I'm going to write down the questions so we can kind of get to it, to not like,
I think we're missing a lot of questions. Comic book name
is Element
X. Yeah. Sorry guys, we'll try to answer all these questions. We got We have a camera.
We have camera
far,
here.
a little bit farther away.
This is for live action comic. This is for the Noah Kinsey.
Yeah.
So we have two different cameras.
Yeah, so we have, there's 5 other characters beside Element X. There's Sienna Moss, Nibiru, Maximus Giganticus, I'm forgetting Enoch, and Seraphim. So we have, in this whole universe, they all mean something to each other. They find out later. So
yeah,
again,
they're all connected.
They're all massively connected, more so than any other universe like Marvel or DC. They just kind of popped up. They were individual superheroes. These guys that we have, they really mean something to each other, and you'll find out what that is.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because you have in like Marvel and DC's world. What's that say? Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, very excited about that as well. So it's interesting, like in Marvel and DC's world, they kind of know about each other and they inhabit that whole world. Whereas with this, I hate to use the movie Crash, but it's similar. It's similar to the fact that they might influence each other and they interact in ways where they don't really know about each other necessarily and how they have influenced, and they kind of cross paths and work together, and it's very interesting. It's not like when they meet up they have to fight. Like a lot of DC and Marvel always have to fight each other before they get along eventually. Yeah. And these guys necessarily, I mean, there's overall.
Yeah, they have a different battle to fight, so they're together. Mm-hmm. You know, I will say that.
Yeah, so it's very interesting, and there's different elements of, no pun intended, for like yours, where it's very much powers, where we have Seraphim, which that's the
angel.
The angel, that's right. That's the angel one.
Yeah.
But there's angels involved. There's different aspects of supernatural, paranatural.
Thanks, Walt 21.
Yeah, thank you. So it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, we're really excited about it.
Really interested to see how those are all involved. And as we go, we're going to be bringing in, like I said, some of the actors and other people who are involved in this, so you can kind of get to meet them.
Lisa Seawort's on here. She's following now, and
she's part of this as well.
She's the main character of Nibiru.
Yep.
So check out Lisa.
We will see her on this.
Yeah, she'll be on here. One of these. There she is.
Hello again. So,
who are the actors? I'm the main character of Element X, Todd Christian. Then we have, like I just said, Lisa Seward is the main character of Nibiru. We have a couple characters I do not have cast. I've done that on purpose because they're kind of interesting characters that I need to find the right people. And we haven't really dove into those characters, but that's Maximus Giganticus and Enoch. We have not cast them yet. And I did that on purpose because I really need the right person for both of those.
Yeah.
Let's see. Seraphim is Andrew Rush. He's a really cool guy. We kind of look sort of similar.
I guess a little bit.
Kind of, sort of. I mean, we kind of look like brothers. Do we have funding? We are working out a TV deal. We actually have 2 pending deals right now, so that's kind of pending. But yeah, we have stuff going on. So the comics are basically going to come along with the TV series. So with that, so we got Enoch, Maximus Giganticus. Those 2 are basically the first show.
So we're working on that, and that's okay. So
that's pre-production.
So that leads to a great question.
Yeah.
So I'm from Michigan. I'm from the Midwest, and whenever there was the first thing that I did that was legit out here acting was I did voiceover for like a children's movie. And when people heard from home that I got that role, they're just like, "That's awesome! When can I see it?"
Right,
and I'm like, "Well, but I just recorded it," and people don't realize how long it takes to kind of get this done. So my question to you is, so the audience out here can know, because everybody knows the end result, and they know the successes, and they know that side of it, but they don't.
I got your Giganticus, yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. All right. That was interesting.
Yeah.
So my
was
question
funny,
to you is, when did you start this process? How long ago? Let them know, because it takes a long time.
Element X has been a story that I've had for over
like 10 years, right? Yeah.
A solid 10 years of writing, and it was a movie turned into a TV show to a comic. It kind of fluctuates back and forth of kind of what deals you have going on. But
when did you decide I'm going to make this comic? Like,
comics
how long
were 4 years ago.
Okay.
And Element X is the first comic that we started, and we're in pre-production of all the others. So, and you guys will see that eventually. But we're in pre-production of that. The TV, once we get the TV going, I've been in communication with some people for a year now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that's when you started bringing me involved to help develop.
Because I basically had a meeting with some people interested in doing TV.
Because they saw what you actually did. And
they liked exactly
it,
like what I said earlier. Yeah, I created a comic book, and these people noticed it. So then I got some meetings with them. They contacted me, and we went in, and it's been a negotiation for over a year now. And it's been great, but it takes a lot of time for this stuff, and then that's even before pre-production. We're not even diving into anything, but that's why I brought Noah in, because I know he's a great writer, and he gets things. He's very witty. All the followers know he's very witty, and he's got some charm to him, and he's got. He's just a creative.
Are you wanting to
really good
borrow
guy,
money or something?
Yeah.
He is buttering me up.
No, I just.
And we sat down. We developed 4 seasons of this show to be able to show the longevity of what it is. Element X is about.
It's difficult to sit down with somebody and spit out 6 different show ideas, like actual characters.
It's impossible.
And have someone understand it. If I sat down here and explained every one of these series, it would be very crazy. It'd be, what's that? No.
Hilarious.
See.
Notorious.
See, they know you from your tweet. Noah goes for a lot of political.
My followers get me.
I don't do politics, guys, so don't look for politics with me. He does. If any live action comics want to follow someone that talks about politics, he always has a witty way of talking about it. So, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So 4
years ago is when you're like,
4 years ago the comic started, and we've developed it since, and we're coming out with more and more comics. Like, you can go on Live Action Comics and check out 2 of them. They sell pretty quick.
So liveactioncomics.com.
Yeah, liveactioncomics.com. The comics, I do a small run. Just to keep it limited, and they fly. I can't keep them on the they're out of stock right now, actually.
Oh, nice.
So I do a small run, and then there you go. Thanks,
yes,
Lisa.
Live Action
and right there, Lisa, she's the main character of Nibiru. And Lisa, put your Instagram contact up so people can follow you. And we'll have some of the information below.
Throughout time, we're going to have a lot of the different information
on
there.
Seraphim is an angel, yes. Seraphim is an angel.
Exactly. Yep. So that's what that character is. Kind of that story is a lot to do with angels and different things like that. So yes, good call. Seraphim is a reference to angels.
Yes, it is. And Nibiru is a creation story of the world. How the world was created. And that's why, like, for him to understand this whole thing was pretty great.
Yeah, I mean, our first couple meetings were just me learning all about it before we started to kind of develop and everything. Yeah. It was just me learning a lot about what was created and kind of what the sandbox looks like so we can play within that sandbox.
Yeah.
And also think about how those characters relate to each other, because eventually on the shows they will connect.
Yeah, they intertwine.
Like the shows as well as the comics.
And that's a pretty interesting way that they meet. Mm-hmm. So, and then there's, what does that say? Actress for Nibiru.
No, I already put the Instagram up.
Yeah, perfect. That's Lisa's Instagram. She just put it up there.
So my last question for you.
Yeah.
you're a comic book fan. Obviously, like, superheroes, you're your homeboy. Yeah. So, when did you get into comics? Let's tell that story. I think that's...
So, honestly, guys, I'm not really a comic book guy from the past.
Mm-hmm.
So I
somewhat
honestly,
recent development, though?
It's kind of a recent development. It's a way for me to showcase my concepts and my ideas. Mm-hmm. I love comic books. I love all superhero movies. I love Superman. I love Batman. I love all that. I love the whole concept of superheroes is amazing to me. I think everyone has a superhero that they can kind of connect to. And that's what drew me to it. But the actual comic books, I don't really have a huge past with comic books. I mean, I really like them, and I've read quite a few and everything, but that's not the driving force. I didn't grow up, like, wanting to make comic books.
But did you read them as a kid?
Yeah,
or
I read them. Yeah, I have, many comic books, but what I'm trying to say is it was a way for me to show my ideas, mm-hmm. right? Sure. And the whole live action comics part of it just came organically from who I am and my processes, and So yeah.
And what about, so your favorite's obviously Superman.
Yeah, absolutely. Superman.
What about the character really resonated with you? Like, why is that your favorite? Why
Superman,
is that
because he's so moralistic, and he always does the right thing. Okay. I think we could learn a lot from him. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's the epitome of a male, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I think I completely agree. So I think what I love about Superman, and that I feel like the movies have kind of missed the mark since basically Reeve, is a lot of the times they want to make him a Jesus metaphor when he's not a Jesus metaphor. That's not, the point isn't that, if anything, he's Moses, because basically his parents put him on like bassinet and pushed him down the river, and he's like the leader of like to help bring the people. Yeah. So if anything, he's Moses more than Jesus. But also, it's like really.
Thanks for inviting people, Lisa.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. Really, what I think is important about Superman, and I've said for a while now, the best current version of Superman are the Captain America movies, because his Superman is what we moralistically want to strive to be. Yeah. And this is like our ideals. This is what we should be. Whereas the antagonist is the world how it is. Mm-hmm. So if you look at Lex Luthor, he's very much pragmatic, very much like working the system for his benefit. Yeah. Versus Superman is like, but that's not right. Yeah. So I feel like we need that again, and that's what the original Christopher Reeve got right with Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman wasn't super evil; he just worked the system. Yeah. And just did what he could to get one up. Whereas Christopher Reeve's like, this is important. To do the right thing. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a great superhero to kind of. Yeah, I love that. Strive to be a better person.
Absolutely. I think that's the best part of Superman. If I can take one thing, that would be the thing I take from him. Yeah.
He just strives to do what's right.
How about you? What's yours?
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man?
Mm-hmm. That was mine. Why? So, in fact, I don't know if I can...
Oh, yeah.
So, for me, with Spider-Man, it's the whole cliche with, with great power comes great responsibility. But I love... The concept of that, what I love about it is, you use what you've been given, your talents, skills, whatever, to help other people. Like, you kind of very similar, where it's like, you have this responsibility because you have these abilities to do good, so you should do good, and to help other people. It might put you in the back seat sometimes, but it's like, what's important is helping other people, and you might not be the most powerful, the strongest, the brightest, or whatever, but you have certain things that you can use to help others.
Right. And he's a kid in high school. He's not very strong. Before that, he wasn't very strong.
A young dude who has
bit by the spider.
And he has real life problems. Yeah. He has the job. He tries to have the girl, and what's that say? So dark themes for Superman killing General Zod. Yeah, the Man of Steel. We might have to have that discussion at some point. But that was pretty dark. But if you watch that, I'm not a huge fan. You don't need to. I mean, I don't know how you felt about it, but I'm not a huge fan. But if you see like the Kents in the Man of Steel version, you can kind of see how he would do that because they weren't the Kents from the other stuff. They weren't like help out other people, do what you can. Those Kents are very much like protect yourself first and foremost.
What question do you have?
Okay, perfect. We have a question.
Yeah, what's your question?
We have a question. And someday they will respond.
I think they're typing.
Yeah, probably.
What's it say?
Do you like the name
Corbin Groves? Corbin Groves? Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it. Why? Who's Corbin Groves?
Maybe they just wanted to know.
Not Lisa's saying that.
So that's, I mean, I think that's all the questions I had for you. I think that gives us a nice... Yeah, I love the new kid that's playing Spider-Man. I think he's phenomenal for it. Very good choice for that.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what they're going to do with him this summer.
Right. What's it say?
A guy that like, he is a person. Do you think he is alive? I don't know. Have you checked on him? Give him a call. If he doesn't answer his phone, go to his house.
Oh, was that one of your?
I have no idea.
One of your guys?
I have no clue.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so how we're gonna do this is gonna be a weekly show where we talk, like we did before. We talk about weekly nerd news. We're talking live action comics and all the different things that go along with it. Because what you see, like if you go to liveactioncomics.com, buy the comic book. What you see is just that there's so many different pieces and people involved in the creation of this. It's really, really fascinating, exciting, and we're going to have them on the show.
Yeah, and real quick, I'll explain that. Each comic book is kind of like a TV show. So we have a cast for each comic book.
Because once again, they're live people, not drawings of people.
They're actors in each. So we might have 10 characters per comic book or whatever. And they have their, the characters, and that's kind of how we have formatted it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah, so it should be very...
I think we missed a question.
Yeah.
It's easy to miss questions on this.
If we missed any of your questions, please just respond on Twitter, and then we can kind of go from there. So we'll answer your questions. We'll bring them up. Could potentially respond to things either on the show if it's something we think would be a good question for everybody to kind of know the answer and kind of information on, or we'll just respond to you directly. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week for another episode of SuperCast.
Thanks, guys.